Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, what's up? My name is Caitlin, and this has been the longest time I think I've been away from YouTube, so I'm really sorry, but that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got a bunch of new products right here to talk about. Not really talk about, but we're going to do like a little get ready with me kind of thing as I shake the camera, and I'm just going to try some new products on my face while we do that. I know the background is very annoying right now because it's very bright behind me, but my blinds are kind of broken because my cat sucks and I need to get a curtain up there ASAP, but obviously I have a new background, so we'll talk about that. But first things first, I'm going to go ahead and start with primer here and we'll talk. So the primer I'm using is the Icy Sherbet primer from Touch in Soul. Okay, so as you guys can tell, I have a new background. That is because we moved. So back in, ooh, that's cool. Back in like the last week of March, first week of April. No, it was definitely like the last 2 weeks of March. Had to have been. I moved. Here's this. As you guys know, I was pregnant. And I would have been about 7 months pregnant at that time, and we moved, and my pregnancy went pretty okay for the most part. The beginning, this is very cooling primer, by the way, kind of smells like roses, which I don't love, but in the beginning, first trimester was a little bit rough. I felt very sick all the time. I wasn't puking much, like I puked a couple times, but not bad at all. I just didn't feel well like most of the time. I was just very tired, but overall I had a fairly easy pregnancy to begin with. But then flash forward and we are moving the house. My feet have started swelling so bad at this point, like so bad. It just really hurt. I had to keep taking breaks while we were moving and it really sucked, which, I mean, if you're gonna move, don't do it 7 months pregnant. It's not a smart idea either way, but you know, that's what I did because we rent our home right now. We haven't found a place that we want to buy it, so we're still renting, and plus I don't know that we're going to stay in Iowa forever, so that's a thing. For foundation, I'm using the Purely's Youth Glow CC Cream in the shade Fair, but because I don't know if we're going to stay in Iowa forever or not, we haven't bought a place yet, so we're still renting, and it's very, very hard in a small town to find a place to rent. So we found one at about 7 months pregnant, so we were like, we're just gonna have to go for it. We like this place a lot, let's just do it. So we did, and it was hard. But because my feet are swelling so bad, I have to keep taking breaks or they swell so bad they hurt. I'm feeling like very, like, not great, but I know I have an appointment soon, so I'm just like, we'll just keep going. So we keep going because at this point I'm on weekly appointments. So we keep going, I'm good. I don't feel terrible, it's just my feet hurt. I'm still working, blah, blah, blah. I decide to go down to part-time at work because my feet are swelling so bad. Our house is still not unpacked. We don't have like hospital bags ready, anything like that, because I'm working every day full-time, and I get home, and by the time I get home, my feet are so swollen that I feel like I can't do anything, and it hurts. So we just didn't get a lot done, unfortunately, and so that's why I wasn't really filming then, because I was just unfortunately in a lot of pain and uncomfortable. So I was hoping at that point, by going to part-time, I would be able to still have enough time to get stuff done at home and not have horribly swollen feet every day. So far I like this CC cream. It's definitely a CC cream, it's not a foundation, so it's not full coverage, but it feels nice and it looks pretty good. Good color match. But anyway, so we get to the point of my appointment, which would be April 8th at this point. So we go in. Up until this point, like I said, it's been a pretty easy pregnancy. Nothing's been wrong other than about the last week and a half. My feet have started swelling really bad. So I get there, and the first thing they say is like, oh, do you have any concerns? And I was just like, oh, my feet hurt. They looked at my feet and they're like, yeah, they're pretty swollen. Concealer, Born This Way, this is not new to me. I do like this. So they take my blood pressure, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember the exact number, but it was 150 something over 90 something, which normal blood pressure is 120/80, which is what my normal blood pressure usually runs. I'm usually close to that, if not that. My blood pressure has always been good. So immediately I'm like, say what? My blood pressure is what? And they're like, oh, let's lay you down, give you a minute, let you relax, and we'll take it again. I'm like, okay. So they do that, still high. At this point, I'm a little scared because I'm like, my blood pressure is never high, what's going on? So then they're like, lay on your left side, we'll give you a few minutes, we'll do it again. So they wound up taking it about 4 or 5 times. And at the clinic I go to, there are 4 different doctors, well, 3 doctors and a midwife that you see. And this time, I just happened to be seeing a new doctor who I hadn't seen before at all. So it was our first visit with this doctor. And he comes in and he's like, oh yeah, your blood pressure is concerning. They drew my blood because they wanted to test something, I don't even remember, something to see if something was high in my protein maybe. I don't remember exactly. I was a little bit panicked at this point, which I know wasn't helping anything, but I did what I did. And then he says that he's worried I might have preeclampsia. Tarte setting powder, this is the Shape Tape setting powder in translucent. So I'm like, okay. He goes and he gets another doctor who is the doctor that I was the most comfortable with, I guess, because I'd seen him quite often and he was my favorite doctor without saying he's my favorite doctor, but you know, he was. And so he comes in and they're like, yeah, we definitely think you're having early signs of preeclampsia, so we're going to go ahead and admit you. And I'm like, you're gonna what? Mind you, I literally came from this appointment straight from work. I hadn't gone home and changed. I hadn't packed a bag. I didn't have my hospital bags. I had nothing other than my work clothes and my Crocs because my feet had swollen so bad at this point that I couldn't wear normal work shoes anymore. I was literally wearing size 9 Crocs. I normally wear a size 7.5 shoe, and I had to get size 9 Crocs. Sorry, I could not get this off in order to have shoes I could wear. So I'm freaking out. My husband's with me. He's a little panicked. So I'm like, can I go home and pack my bag? Can I do this? What can I do? And they're like, no, he can go home and get your bag ready, but you're gonna have to stay. And I'm like, okay. At this point, I am like panicked. Like, I'm trying really hard not to show it, but I'm definitely scared because I do not like hospitals. I do not like being in them. I absolutely hate them. I am almost a month before I'm due, because I was due May 1st, and this is April 8th that I'm going into the hospital. So he says that I'm going to be admitted that night, and I'm going to be staying there until baby comes. So who knows how long. It could be about 3.5 weeks. It could be tomorrow. It could be whenever, but they're going to monitor me. So I'm like, okay. I send my husband home to pack our bags, which we live about half an hour away from where the clinic is. So he's got about an hour that he's going to be gone, plus packing time. So probably about an hour and a half, because he had to sort through all the boxes to find everything, because, you know, we didn't really have everything unpacked because, again, my feet were swollen. So we're waiting on him. I'm panicking. I use the Morphe contour palette. This is a highlighting contour palette to contour my face. I'm going to use probably Literati. Yeah, might mix in a little bit of donut, but we'll see. So I'm panicked. He leaves. They come in and they tell me that my levels are still high. They put this thing around my stomach to like make sure I'm not contracting, anything like that. And then they tell me that they are going to induce me because they tested my cervix. I was already at a 3, and he said, the doctor said that he thought at this point the best option would be to get me to have the baby, because they were worried. Ooh, that's very orange. They were worried that it was a bigger health risk to leave him in than it would be to take him out. So I'm here at the hospital alone because my husband is getting the bags ready, and I call him and I'm like, they're inducing me, get here now, because in my mind they're inducing me, so I'm about to have a baby, you know. But little did I know inducing could take a while. So they induced me. He eventually gets back. It's probably about 9 o'clock at this point. After everything that's happened, they've induced me, they talked to me, told me like stuff that could happen, all of this. Tell me I'm at a stroke risk, bunch of stuff. So, you know, they're telling you to stay calm while they're making you panic. But they're in there checking my blood pressure every half an hour, waking me up every half an hour. So I was just like, oh, this sucks. And I have very small veins. Like, I don't know if you can see. You can actually see a scar right there on the middle of my hand. Let me put this down. Right there on the middle of my hand, because I have horrible veins and they don't like to get poked. So I had to get 2 IVs. They blew it like repeatedly and finally got one right there to the point where it's scarred. And then I had to have one in my shoulder as well, one for the medication, because they put me on magnesium, which if you've never had magnesium, it is the worst thing in the world. It makes you feel like your body is on fire. It hurts. You can't stay awake. It makes you really cranky, and it's just horrible. I hated it. Oh my God, so much. It was quite possibly one of the worst experiences of my life. And the fun part is it doesn't leave your body for a while. So after you're done on it, you still have some side effects to it. Like, you still feel warm and everything. Like, I'm over 6 weeks out now, and I still feel hot like a lot of the time, and I'm someone who always was cold all the time. So sidetracked. So I had that one in my hand, and then I had one in my shoulder for when they were gonna start pain medication. But anyway, so they're doing all this. I'm induced. Contractions have started, but they're like still very far apart. I'm still only at a 3. So they're like, okay, now it's just a waiting game. Done with this. I'm not a fan of this, I'm gonna be honest. At least that color, but that was the lightest color, and it's still super orange. So they let me go to sleep. For blush and bronzer, I'm gonna use the Jaclyn Cosmetics Blush and Bronzing Duo, Bronze and Blushing Duo, excuse me, in the shade Pink Me Up and Oh Honey. This is the lightest shade, I believe, that they sell. But, so I'm sleeping. Flash forward, they would come in, wake me up. I'm like, okay. Ooh, very pretty packaging. I'm like, okay, they're just here to do yet another blood pressure. No, they're here to tell me that they're gonna have to stop the medication that they put me on because my baby's heart rate has dropped significantly. And I'm like, what? So now I'm not only worried about myself, I'm worried about my unborn baby because his heart rate is dropping. So they stop the inducing, and they tell me that I'm going to have a C-section immediately. C-section is something I really did not want to do. I don't like surgery. It scares me possibly more than having a kid does. But at this point, I have no choice because they can't leave the baby in me, or I'm going to get very sick and possibly have a stroke, and they can't let me go into labor naturally because his heart rate is dropping every time I would contract, his heart rate would drop. So can't do either of those options. Only option left, emergency C-section. So at this point, it is the next day when all this is happening. They woke me up about 8 o'clock in the morning and said that all this was happening. And so I'm officially just like, okay, what do we do? So I wake my husband up, Dylan, and tell him everything that's going on. And within half an hour, not even, it was less than that probably, they're in there prepping me for surgery. They take me back to do my epidural, and I panicked because she's like, you're gonna feel a slight pinch, it's not gonna be that bad. The pain wasn't horrible, but what no one told me was that you can feel it go down your leg. So she sticks this needle in my back, and all of a sudden I get like an electric shock go down my left leg. So I was like, oh my God. And they're like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, it just went down my leg. And they're like, oh, I forgot to tell you that, I'm sorry. So basically they inject you with fentanyl, I believe, which is a heavy drug. I'm not someone who likes to take medications, so that wasn't something I was thrilled about, but epidurals. I really like this blush. The bronzer is okay. It's not my favorite, but I don't dislike it. We'll do brows next. Oops. Which for brows I have, nope. Where's my brows? Oh, here it is. I have the Wander Beauty Frame Your Face Micro Brow Pencil in the shade dark brown, and then I just have the Believe Beauty Gel, which I've already used before. So here's this. But I'm finally like ready to go. She tells me, she's like, if you feel sick, let me know. And I'm like, okay, why would I feel sick? And then all of a sudden it hit me and I was like, I'm going to throw up. And she's like, okay, just turn your head to the left. So I turn my head, she puts this suction thing in my mouth and I puke into that, which is probably TMI, but I hated every moment of that. I do not like to throw up. I'm someone who cries when I throw up. So I'm just here throwing up, but it doesn't feel like you're actually throwing up because as soon as it comes out, it's gone into this little tube. And it was just a really weird experience. But anyway, we get through that. And I have my doctor in the room, but there are 2 student doctors doing my actual C-section. And if you've never had surgery, there is the doctors down there behind a curtain that you can't really see. And then there's a nurse right above you that's just like there to calm you down and basically talk over them so you can't hear what they're saying. But I was like very much trying to hear what they're saying. And Dylan's next to me at this point. But I was trying really hard to hear what they're saying. I can feel pressure, but obviously you can't feel anything, which not being able to feel your legs is one of the weirdest feelings in the world. I did not like it. But she's trying to like keep me calm. I'm trying to hear what they're saying. And then I hear one of the student doctors go, he's flipped, I can't get him. And I'm like, what? What do you mean he's flipped? And the nurse is like, oh, it's fine, they'll take care of it. So the main doctor, my doctor, comes over and he's like, I got it. And then I hear Dylan go, whoa. And I'm like, what just happened? And he's like, he literally just flipped out of you. Like they like had to take him out and flip him in the air because he was like flipped backwards in my stomach, I guess. I couldn't see it obviously, so I don't know. But at this point, it is about, well, it's about 8:30 something because he was born at 8:38 a.m. on April 9th. And they take him over to the scale. They're all like taking bets on how much he's gonna weigh. At this point, I still can't see him, but they're all talking about it. So he weighed 4 pounds, 10 ounces. Tiny, tiny little boy. Apparently, I still don't know exactly what was wrong because they haven't really updated me, but apparently something was wrong with my placenta and it was keeping him small. So he was born about 36 and a half weeks, but because something was wrong with my placenta, he was very little. They sent it off to Des Moines, which I live in Iowa, so biggest hospitals are in Des Moines. But I never really heard, I guess, back what was wrong with it exactly, so maybe something I should find out. But yeah, so he's a very tiny baby, he's born, we get taken out of the room into another room where he is. I finally get to see him and hold him, and it was the best experience in my life. Like, worst experience in my life, best result is what I keep saying about my birth, because it was very traumatic. Like, all of this stuff is just happening all at once, and I was scared, and it was scary. But they wind up taking us and putting us in a room. They come in after a while, they're helping us get everything ready, you know, like the typical, like, here's your baby, here's what we gotta do kind of thing. But eventually they start taking my blood pressure again. It's still pretty high. So they start me on Toradol for the pain for the surgery, and I'm still on the magnesium at this point. Eventually I got to come off of the magnesium. You have to be on it 24 hours after birth. So at about 8:38 a.m. Well, no, it wouldn't be on his birth. Yes, it would. It's 24 hours after you give birth, you can come off the magnesium. So that's what we did. So for that first while, it was awful and I hated every moment of it because magnesium sucks. Okay, this is by Laura Mercier. It is the Matte Radiance Baked Powder Highlight 01. I'm not entirely sure if this is a highlighter or if it's like an all over face thing. I think it's an all over face thing because it's kind of very like light in tone and doesn't really have like a intensity to it. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, just kind of dust it all over the face. Similar to like the Jaclyn Hill powders that she came out with. But anyway, so we're doing that. I'm off the magnesium at this point, but I'm still on a lot of blood pressure medications because my blood pressure is not coming down. It's still really high. They're telling me I'm at risk for a stroke or seizures, blah, blah, blah. So again, I'm still scared, still trying to take care of a baby now at this point because, you know, we now have our son here, whose name is Pilot, for those of you who don't know. Yes, this is pretty, but it's just giving me like a really subtle glow. So I like that a lot, actually. But yes, his name is Pilot. He's adorable and I love him. But we're trying to take care of a baby. I'm having the hardest time staying awake because, again, magnesium, that was really loud and I'm sorry. Again, magnesium really, really messes with you. It's very difficult with that situation. I'm gonna go ahead and spray my face with the Item One Hit Prime Set and Refresh Dewy Finish Face Mist just to melt all this powder product in my face. Whew, I like the mist on that, but it smells like baby wipes. Goodness. Where was I in my story? I don't even know. Oh, I'm just like having very difficulty staying awake at this point because the magnesium is off, but you're still getting the side effects. And then Toradol, you can only have for 3 days in your system before they have to switch you to something else. They wound up switching me to Percocet in pill form. I absolutely hated that. I don't like pain medication to begin with, so I started kind of like saying, no, I don't want it, just give me Tylenol, which was not helping anything. I'm gonna go ahead and line my eyes with the Point Made Busty Brown eyeliner from Patrick Starr's brand called One Size. Here's the packaging. But I was like saying, no, I don't want it, I'm okay, which I was healing okay. I was still in pain, but not near as bad as I was from the C-section. But I was saying I didn't want it because I don't like taking medication. But that wasn't helping anything because I wasn't taking the pain medicine, which was increasing my pain, which was increasing my high blood pressure. So the doctor came in and was like, look, I know you don't want to, but you kind of have to. So I started taking it, hated it because it just made me so drowsy. Like, that's one of the main reasons why I don't like pain medication is because all of it makes me so drowsy. Like, Toradol was okay, I wasn't too bad, but I was also still tired from the magnesium, so I don't really know, I guess. But so I started taking that finally, and then just so many high blood pressure medications. Like, I literally had like one of those little cups full of medicines I was taking because I was on 2 different blood pressure medications, multiple pills for that. I had to take an iron pill, and then you have to take a stool softener when you have a C-section just because the first time you have a BM, it can be very painful. TMI, I know, but you have to take one of those. So I had stool softener, an iron pill because my iron was very low. It dropped down to an 8. I don't know what it's supposed to be at, but it got back up to a 12 and they're like, great. So it went down to an 8 though, and that was apparently very bad. But my iron was low, so I had that pill and then the blood pressure medications and then my pain pill. So I was taking like those cups full like 3 times a day. It was horrible. And then on top of that, because of my preeclampsia and the C-section, I was at a high risk for blood clots. So every day I had to give myself a shot in the stomach, which was not a fun time. I don't remember what it's called. Something sodium is what I had to give myself. This eyeliner is pretty good. It looks good, I think. I like it. But this is not a very good in-depth like makeup tutorial. If that's what you were wanting, I'm sorry, but that's not what you're getting today. Okay, let's do highlight. This is actually an eyeshadow, but I'm going to use it as a highlight because I think it'd be really pretty. This is the Just a Girl Baked Eyeshadow from Medusa's Makeup. Really pretty icy white color. So I think it'd be a very pretty highlight. But yeah, at this point, it's still just me trying to get my blood pressure down and get back to normal. Pilot had lost weight. So the lowest he got down to was 3 pounds, 15 ounces, which was terrifying. That's really pretty. At that point, Dylan and I were both terrified because he was so little. There's a picture of him on Instagram if you guys want to see it. I'm not going to show him on camera anytime soon, I don't think. Maybe someday. but for now, no. But there's a picture on Instagram. My Instagram's down below if you want to see him. It's the by the second day he was in the hospital, so he's very, very little in it. But just to give you an idea, we made him an outfit that had like his full name on it for him to go home in, and we got 0 to 3 months because we were like, we don't know if he's going to be in newborn stuff or he might be a big baby, because that kind of ran in Dylan's family was big babies. So we got 0 to 3 months because we're like, if anything, it'll just be a little big. But no, he had to wear preemie. At first he had to wear what was called micro preemies, which I did not know existed until having a kid. So he had to wear those for a little bit, and then he finally got up to preemies. He is now in newborn clothes, which it's almost 2 months in, so that's pretty good, I think. But I really like that as a highlight. It's really pretty. Eyeshadow, I'm going to use the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Blood Money palette. But yeah, he is doing great now, but in the hospital we were really struggling. I was struggling hardcore with breastfeeding because he had an inappropriate latch is what they're calling it, and he just wasn't latching well and wasn't taking well. And personally, I didn't like breastfeeding because I couldn't tell how much he was eating. This is a very beautiful palette. So in my mind, I was like, is he getting enough nutrition? Is he getting enough to eat? I don't know. I can't see it. So eventually what I started doing was just pumping. And then we had to alternate because he wasn't gaining weight. We had to alternate the breast pump and the, it was a high calorie formula that they gave us. So we were doing both of those, alternating back and forth. And we finally got him up and going. He got up to 5 pounds, 2 ounces, I think. And he was ready to go. He actually got discharged before I did. Obviously, he didn't go anywhere. He stayed in the hospital with me and Dylan, but he was discharged before I was. I'm going to start with Mint Condition, the shade here, and put that in the crease. Yeah. So he was discharged, and then they were talking about discharging me, and they took my blood pressure. Still high. What do you know? I think the highest it got was 170s, like high 170s over high 90s, but they're still worried. They're like, we've got to get this down. I kept telling them, I was like, I just need to leave this place. Just let me leave and it'll be down. It's just me being stressed from being here, because they tell you not to stress, but yet they're literally in there every half an hour poking at you and taking your blood pressure and waking you up and checking on you. And it just was like super nice. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I appreciated all their help and everything, but you don't have time to like relax in there when they're checking on you every half an hour, especially with a newborn baby who's crying. So at the time you finally get to sleep, 10 minutes later they're going, knock knock, let me poke you some more, let me do this, and it was just super like, just let me rest kind of thing. Plus I have a bad back, so I have sacralization. So at this point I've got pain in my back and pain in my stomach on both sides, and if you've never stayed in a hospital bed, they suck a lot. So they're super painful. So my back is hurting because I'm uncomfortable in my bed, and it's just like one thing after the other. So I was like, just let me go home and I'll be okay. So finally, next day, they're like, okay, we're gonna test your blood pressure again. If it's under 140, we will let you go. They tested it, it wasn't. So I'm like, it was like 148, I think. It was barely over 140. No, so it wasn't 148. It was like 143, maybe. It was just a little bit over 140. The bottom number was good at this point, but that top number I just couldn't get lower. I'm going to take Make It Rain on a fluffy brush. I'm going to put that a little bit lower in the crease. But yeah, I just couldn't get it lower. So at this point, I'm just super frustrated because I'm like, it's not going to come down until I can leave this place. I know it's not, because I'm stressed out being here. So finally they're like, okay, we're putting you on a different medication. So they've changed my medicine, I think, like 3 times while I was in the hospital, trying to find something that would work. And they wound up putting me on 2 different pills. I think Labutuol, something like that was one of them. I don't remember the other one, don't ask me. So they put me on that. My blood pressure gets down. It's 140 over something, like 140 exactly, and I'm like, just let me go, please. So they're like, okay, we'll let you go. So at this point, we were in the hospital for 8 days, and it was about 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night, and I'm finally being discharged. Pilot was discharged the day before, so he was there for a full week, and I was there for 8 days. Now I'm gonna take crocodile tears. I'm gonna pop that in the outer corner. But finally we get to go home. I have to monitor my blood pressure, continue to take my medication, and continue to give myself shots. So I'm like, okay, at least I'm gonna be home. And so a couple days into being home, I'm obviously still in pain because, you know, C-sections hurt. But my blood pressure has started to go down. So I called the doctors and I'm like, my blood pressure is doing pretty good. So they're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead. It was 3 pills 3 times a day at that point of one of them, and then 1 pill 3 times a day of the other one. So they're like, let's take off that 1 pill and just do the 3 pills. Okay, so we do that. And then I started feeling like super sick, and I was like, what is going on? Take my blood pressure, and it's like 116/19, which is too low. So I called them, I'm like, it dropped really low. And they're like, okay, let's drop you down to 2 pills 3 times a day. Do that, it's doing good. A couple days later, same thing, start to feel sick, it drops. Basically, we keep repeating this till I'm down to 1 pill 1 time a day. And then I go to the doctor and they're like, okay, we're good. Your blood pressure looks great. Let's go ahead and stop that pill. We stopped that pill, no problems. So that was great. I'm gonna take Poison Ivy, which is a metallic shade. I'll put that all over the lid. Ooh, that's bright. But yeah, my blood pressure dropped. It was doing really good. My incision healed really, really well. The pain-wise, it took me, as soon as I got home, I stopped taking the Percocet and just continued to take ibuprofen. So I was like done with that immediately. But it took me, I'd say probably 3 weeks before I was finally not hurting every time I walked. But yeah, about 3 weeks, I think, recovery time. It took probably the full 6 weeks for me to be able to really like lift stuff and go back to like completely normal, which it's still to this day, like every now and then it'll feel like it's kind of tugging, which I guess is normal. I know people that have like said years later that they still feel that little tug from the inside. I take Divine Intervention, which is the icy white shade, on your little pencil brush. I'm gonna pop that in the inner corner and the brow bone. Which, I mean, ooh, it's got a green reflect to it. I didn't realize that. It's really pretty. Which, I mean, 3 years kind of sucks, but, or I guess I don't know how many years, but 2 to 3 years, I guess. I don't remember what she said. But, yeah, so basically, that's my story. I do want to have another kid, but now I am slightly very afraid. He did say I have to wait minimum of a year before I can have another kid, and that I'm going to be at a higher risk. He also said I can't have a lot of kids. Thankfully, I didn't want a lot of kids. I only want 2. So thankfully that's not going to like break my heart. But if I did want more kids, that would really suck. So that's okay though. Yeah, I'm doing good. Pilot's doing great. He's probably about 8 pounds now. He's in newborn clothes still, but he's getting close to where he's gonna grow out of them, I think. I'm gonna take Make It Rain again. I'm gonna put that on the lower lash line. But he's doing super good. He's a pretty happy baby. We did wind up having to put him on sensitive formula because he was having issues with that. But now he's great. He's a good little boy. He's a trooper. Yeah, they were concerned for a minute in the hospital. I was gonna take Jaded and put that in the outer corner of the lower lash line. They were concerned for a minute in the hospital that he could be jaundice, so he had to get his foot poked like 4 times. Which he's a little trooper on that too. He didn't even cry. Like, I'm over here whining about the bruises on my arm, and he was just like a trooper. That was one of the worst parts for me personally, was getting poked so much. Because like I said earlier, I have a really rough time getting poked. They had to use one of these veins. I think that one there, they can barely see. They used that same vein 3 days in a row, poking me because they couldn't get blood from anywhere else. I was covered in bruises all over. I also have like a slight allergicness to latex. Like, it doesn't like hurt me or anything, but when you put like a latex band-aid on me, when you take it off, there will be like red. So all of the band-aids that they had all over me from all this, like every time they pull them off, it's red there, and it just, I looked like I'd been through it after I left the hospital. I'm gonna take this Patrick Star pencil and just kind of run it along the lashes on the top here. But yeah, so it wasn't a fun experience in the hospital, but Pilot is great. He is the love of our lives, and I couldn't be happier having him now. He's such a good boy and like so sweet and, you know, adorable, but like what mom's not gonna say their kid's adorable? But yeah, so it was all worth it in the end. I don't know, he did say I could try vaginal birth next time, but I honestly don't know if I'm even gonna bother trying or if I'm just gonna go straight for the C-section, because that's what I know now. So I might just do that instead of having to go through another new experience. But you know, I got a while to think about it, so that's fine. But yeah, so my little Taurus baby wound up being a little Aries baby. But again, we couldn't be happier. He's doing great. He's gaining weight like a champ. So yeah, and I'm just kind of rambling because I still have more makeup to put on my face, and I'm done telling you my story. So I guess we'll just go ahead and finish off with the makeup. So I'm gonna take this I Am Confident by Real Her lip liner. I think I Am Confident is the shade, but I'm gonna go ahead and pop that on my lips here. Also, my house is still not completely unpacked, fun fact. I just got this room put together, which is why I'm just now filming, and it's still got like 2 giant empty boxes over there. And I still have a lot of work to do in here. Let me know when I get this done. Like, I still need to get like curtains and shelves and stuff like that and do all the finishing touches, but when I get that done, do you guys want a room tour? Is that something you'd be into? Or even a house tour? That'll probably be a while because we got a lot of stuff to do in the house. Okay, there's that. I'm not the best with lip liner. I don't line my lips very often, but I had it, so I was like, you know, I just will try it. Now for liquid lips, I'm going to use the Jaclyn Cosmetics liquid lip in the shade Empowered. Originally planned on doing a video on these products, on the Jaclyn Hill products, but then I only wound up getting 1 liquid lip and 1 blush and bronzer. I didn't get any lip liners, so I was like, oh, we'll just throw them in a random video, I guess. But here's the shade, super pretty. I love this packaging. Ooh, smells really nice. Smells like buttercream. Also, I love this eyeshadow palette. It turned out really good, I think. Huh. I'm not loving this color. This looks a lot more orangey on me than it did in the video, which kind of sucks, but you know, we have different skin tones, so that's to be expected. But now I kind of wish I would have chosen a different shade. Formula-wise, I like it. Just don't love the color. Oh, maybe I went a little too far down with that green. Okay, let's do some mascara and be done with this. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and spray my face again first with the setting spray. Now, I'm going to take the Fenty Beauty Mascara. This is just Full Frontal is what it's called. And I think it's just black. Oh, it's called 'Cause I'm Black. Weird name. Okay. Packaging, super, super cute. And I've seen this wand before, which the wand is kind of strange. but we're gonna try it. I hope I like it. Mascara is something that I'm always looking for the best of. Seems like no one can just top my Too Faced. My Too Faced Better Than Sex is my favorite. Has been for a long time. I'm just looking for that mascara to top it, but so far, negative. I'm not loving this mascara at all, actually. Oops. It's not doing much for my eyes. I'll have to fix that little mess up in a minute. For the bottom lashes, it's okay. I'll take a little spoolie real quick and get that off my eye. Still there. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm a mess. I just got this mascara on my mirror now. It's been a while since I've done this. This is only the second time I've done my makeup since having my child. Even before that, honestly, because like I said, when I had those swollen feet, I didn't want to do anything. So whatever my last video was on here was the last time I've done my makeup, aside from 2 days ago when I had a bachelorette party to go to. Yeah, I don't love this mascara. Could be one of those ones where you gotta like let it dry out before it gets good. And so far, not for me. Just not really doing much. Okay. Well, that's everything. Quick recap. Let's go ahead and go back through these products. Primer, I will always say it in these videos, it's hard to tell with primer if you like it or not, but I liked the way this felt, and I think it was very cooling and hydrating on the skin, so that's always good. Just taking my hair out of the clippy there. Foundation, the CC cream I like. I think my skin looks nice. It gave it like a good glow. The powder was really nice. I don't know about creasing yet, but as far as like setting it went, I think it set it really well. There's no like lines on my face or anything like that. So that's a win for me. Really like this Laura Mercier all over powder. I think I will definitely use this again. I honestly think I like it more than the Jaclyn Hill one. Not gonna lie, but really liked that. The contour palette probably is the biggest fail of the day. I feel like it just looks not the best on my skin tone. So don't love that, I will be honest. The blush and bronzer. The bronzer is okay. I feel like it might honestly be too light for me, but the blush I really liked, so I will use that again, definitely. The eyeshadow slash highlighter, really love. I think that gives me a really pretty glow. I will definitely be using that again in the future as a highlight. Setting spray felt really nice. I think it helped my makeup sink in, so that's good. Eyeliner I liked. I think it looks nice and creamy in my waterline. It's not the best on the top lashes because it did kind of skip. But on the bottom lashes, I think it looked really nice. Just taking that little pencil brush, that's the word, kind of going back over where I screwed up my mascara. The brow pencil I actually really liked. I think this is a really good color match for me. Normally dark brown shades are usually too red toned for my hair, but I really liked this. So great eyebrow pencil, as long as it doesn't like fade off or anything. Really like this eyeshadow palette. I always love Jeffree Star formula though, so I expected to love it. But these greens are really pretty. It's very reminiscent to the Alien palette, which was my favorite of his. So glad of that. I really like this formula. It feels nice. It's a little sticky, but not too bad. I'm just not crazy about this color at all. Definitely think I'm gonna have to mix it with a lip liner. But yeah, I want to get other shades in this for sure. This mascara I don't like. I just don't feel like it did really anything to my eyelashes. Womp womp. Oh, and the liner was good. The lip liner. Like, I think it looks fine. But yeah, that's everything. Let me know your pregnancy horror stories down below if you had any, what your experience was like, all that fun stuff. Also, let me know what your favorite mascara is so I can try it. Cruelty-free, please, because I only use cruelty-free stuff. So if you give me a recommendation that's not cruelty-free, unfortunately, I won't try it. So yeah, that's it. Don't forget to like this video before you go. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any more of my future videos. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.